Identity and Accomplishments by Xiuhcoatl, a project of the Mexica movement, 2014. Embracing Nican Tlaca identity, rejecting colonial identities. So we're here to promote our indigenous identity. We are using the term Nican Tlaca, which means we the people of this land, or we the people here, and it's just a way of rejecting colonial labels such as not Hispanic, not Latino, mestizo, Indian, and we want to promote unity within our people, whether you're from North America or South America. And the second picture demonstrates that even though we are different ethnicities, you see that even physically we look alike, and that kind of demonstrates that our people have been migrating and migrating all over the continent. So we are one people. We're all one people, one continent, and we reject European borders. Okay, so in order to reclaim our identity, we have to know exactly what we're claiming. So it's very imperative to know exactly where we come from, to have a clear understanding of who we are before the invasion, and because of our cultures have been destroyed by the Europeans, many of us do not know where we come from. We don't know what nation or tribes we come from. We don't know our collective history. We're not proud to be indigenous. It's seen as a negative aspect in our lives, and this is a way to, we are showing collective accomplishments to our people, and this slide will mainly focus on Mexica, because they're the most documented, and we're not trying to say it's better. We're not trying to impose, Mexica identity, but it's a sense of this is what we have and this is what we could use. And I will use other examples of Nicantalaka nations, but it will be mostly Mexica. So again, I want to emphasize on the identity. So over here you see, three different things. You see like so-called Native American, you see Mexica, you see Mayan, and again, we're just saying that we are Nicantalaka, we are indigenous to this land. Whether we're mixed blood or full blood, we're still one people. Like we have a clear understanding that being mixed was a product of rape, so that doesn't deny our indigenous identity. And again, Nicantalaka is promoted because that's what's documented. If you have any other label that means indigenous in any other language, it's fine. But this is what we're promoting, just to get away from the whole Latino, Hispanic, Indian, and whatnot. So identity as a foundation, like so, we might ask why does it matter to reclaim an identity? Like people say, well, I don't care, it's not important to me. But again, you know, as this quote says by Siglalia Nawak from the Mexican movement, she says, how we choose to identify ourselves reflects the knowledge and understanding that we have or don't have of our history. An identity tells a story, connects us to your culture, reflects your values, and most importantly says how you connect to this world. 519 years of colonialism produces a people who are ignorantly label themselves terms that benefit the colonizer and the colonial order. After the genocide comes the ethnocide. So again, it's very important to know who we are, because without our culture, like we are true with no roots. We have no foundation of who we are, and it's important because a lot of because without history we have no self. But once we know history, then we know ourselves. So here we have corn. Corn is basically the foundation of our culture. We as a people have been here on this continent for 70,000 years, and within that we have a 7,000 years of original history. And throughout the world, there's three original civilizations. One was China through rice, Sumer through wheat, and we have corn. And what's unique about us is that we developed without any outside influences. So corn is considered by modern scientists the world's greatest achievement in genetic engineering. So basically, corn had to be created by us, by humans. Corn was created about 12,000 years ago, and it was considered a bold act of biological manipulation. So again, corn is a Nicantlaka creation. We are the simultaneously parents and children of corn. Like you might hear people say, we are people of the corn, children of the corn. So corn ties us to our identity as well. And maize has been around from 2000 to 500 BC, and because of corn, what you saw was a great explosion of creativity that took place in Mesoamerica at that time. So here you have examples of corn being displayed in our art, in our sculptures, and it's just a representation of how corn is important to our people. Creators of independent civilizations. The first one is Caral from the Peru area is considered the mother father culture in Tahuantinsuyo, falsely called South America. And then you have the Olmecs, which began in the 1800 BC, and they are considered the mother father culture of Anahuac. And because many other cultures have evolved from their achievements by the development of corn, although Mesoamerican culture is diverse, there is a pan Mesoamerican with the common traits that link them through kinship, art, science, trade, math, culture, technology, theology, and identity because of the Olmecs. So the Olmec influence, you have the cultivation of corn, complicated calendar system, hieroglyphic writing, books, maps, extensive knowledge of astronomy, team sport. We have well-organized markets, chocolate, beans for money, ceremonial sacrifices, and extraordinary complex cosmology, theology, and many more. So our people were united under a common history because Mesoamerican civilization is not the product of the intrusive of foreign elements unknown to the region, but rather a cultivating development based on local experiences. So therefore, we are still linked under the common accomplishments and current struggles as well. So here you see some examples of writing, books, sculptures, observatories, medicine, math, and science. Science. The highest degree of astronomy was reached by the Mayan in Semanahuac between AD 800 and AD 1400. The Mayans were a highly sophisticated system of astronomy that was developed independently from the rest of the world. Our ancestors used science to predict eclipses. They created calendars based on the keen observation of the cycle of the sun and the moon. The Mesoamerican calendar was far more accurate and than the European calendar at the same time period by observing the sun and the sky and the constellations, which marked the point of agriculture and planting corn. Astronomy also led to the building of structures or pyramids of the sun and moon throughout Semanahuac that align with planets, especially Venus or the morning star, while others serve as observations. Astronomy was related to every aspect of society, such as city planning, military, trade, specialized workmanship. Another interesting feat was how our ancestors, whether they were Mayan, Mexica, Inca, Lakota, and Pima, and so forth. Theology. Astronomy was used in the creation of our theology as opposed to having a religion. We had a scientific and mathematical approach to the Creator. It was a very complex system that even to this day experts are trying to decipher it. So in order to even comprehend our theology, we have to have a basic understanding of science, of physics, chemistry, biology, and no other theology around the world is similar to ours because we use science and how we view the Creator. Education and cities. We were the first people of all of humanity to have mandatory education for all sexes and social classes. And some of our cities are Machu Picchu, Tikal, Cholula, Tenochtitlan. It was documented by the Spaniards that Tenochtitlan was larger than London, Spain, and any other European at the time, and Cortes agreed that it was far most beautiful city on earth. Writing. We had an independent, complex, and sophisticated writing system. Some of the examples are hieroglyphics, pictographs, logograms, Kickapoo writing system, which is a 3D writing forms of knots that resemble CD-ROMs or computer-like technology. It was the Mayans who took the writing system to a high degree with a mixed semantic phonetic script in which they apparently could write anything they wish. Health. It was the Mexica civilization that founded the first hospital of Semanahuac. It was fully staffed with doctors, nurses, surgeons, and many others. Mexica surgeons performed brain amputations and plastic surgeries. The hospitals provided a free service to the community because it was funded by the government. Other medical practices that predate Europeans were holistic medicine, concept of hygiene, hot springs, therapeutic touch, aromatherapy, and many more. Society. Our ancestors were a moral people with great ethics, possibly the most humane people of all humanity. The Tlatoani, which means he who speaks, was not chosen by mere chance, but by many merits. One of them was based on their ability of delivering poetic, eloquent, and figurative speeches, with which the Mexica people loved so well. The society was very disciplined and strict. If a public official broke the law in any way, they were punished more harshly than a commoner in the form of the death penalty. Men and women in the elderly position were highly respected and esteemed and had a place in society until their death, which was celebrated with great joy for having contributed to the greatness of the nation. Another example of a law was public drunkenness, which was illegal because it violated the social and cultural well-being of the nation. Warfare. War was sacred. There was a protocol, formalities, and ethical conduct before war was declared. War happened after long and painful negotiations with quarreling nations. The Mexica were not only expanding but unifying various nations into one. No other behavior has been seen in all of humanity. The embassies, speeches, and gifts were clearly demonstrated the chivalrous ideal of the warrior in American antiquity. Another trait in conduct of war have not seen anywhere else in the world was the point of war. It was not to kill their enemies, but to capture them and offer them to the Creator. War was not to make the opponent yield by force or create havoc by systematic extermination of whole nations, the annihilation of state, or overthrow. Equality. Women fully participated in politics, and although men were leaders in some nations, women had the power to appoint, veto, or impeach any male leaders. Women also served as spokespersons for their people. When Europeans first encountered these indigenous nations, they could not believe that women were leaders and refused to deal with them. In essence, men and women had separate roles but were considered complementary. Also, women in Mexica society were doctors, lawyers, judges, warriors, artisans, priestesses, poets, and politicians as well. Our people viewed childbirth as a sacred act. If a woman died in childbirth, she was honored like a warrior who lost her life in battle. Nican women enjoyed rights along with their male counterparts that were unheard of in Europe. Homosexuality was also accepted in many indigenous cultures and were seen as holy or sacred people. Specific roles had to be earned. Conclusion. Our intelligence, genius, innovation was completely destroyed and became stagnant. If left undisturbed, we could have been making contributions in science, mathematics, technology, literature, art, and many more fields. We would have been the pride of humanity. The high principles of these cultures regarding humanity, brotherhood, true harmony, and understanding of the principles of nature, their profound knowledge in the high mathematics, sciences, engineering, architecture, and our creative genius as exemplified by our documented accomplishments does not fit with the barbarous model invented by the Europeans. Our culture that was suddenly destroyed is one that humanity can be proud to have created.